What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to go over the FAQs for Hogwarts Legacy. So as many have pointed out, and thank you for anybody that had sent it to me, their website is completely overhauled. I mean, from top to bottom, right? There's actually quite a bit on the site now that wasn't there before. Even the way the FAQs are shown are just 1,000 times nicer looking, right? The visual appeal is a lot better than what it used to look like. I know there's other stuff on the website, like the fact that this game now releases on Nintendo Switch. In fact, I think that's part of one of these FAQs. So I want to read through these. A lot of these actually were original. They were already there. I made a video, and maybe we can link that at the end of this one, where I did the exact same thing. I read through them all, but I'm going to do it again because some of the questions are new, so some of the answers are new because of that, but also some of the answers also have been expanded on, whereas before they were kind of bare bones. Now they've added more to it. So I'm just going to kind of rapid fire these, and then we'll try to do like an overall kind of a opinion on it at the end. What kind of game is Hogwarts Legacy? Hogwarts Legacy is an immersive open-world action role-playing game set in the 1800s Wizarding World, which puts players at the center of their own adventure. Who's publishing it? Warner Bros. Games is publishing Hogwarts Legacy under the Portkey Games label. The game is being developed by Avalanche Software. When does it release? Hogwarts Legacy will release holiday 2022. What platforms will it be on? Be available for PS5, PS4, 4 Pro, Series X, S, Xbox One consoles, Nintendo Switch, and PC. What is J.K. Rowling's involvement with the game? Is this a new story from J.K. Rowling? This is expanded. The answer, they added more to this. Each experience offered under Portkey Games will take place in the Wizarding World and will be authentic to it. J.K. Rowling is supportive of Portkey Games and has entrusted the design and creation of the game to WB Games and developers involved. Her team have also collaborated with WB Games on all aspects of Hogwarts Legacy to ensure it remains a true part of the Wizarding World experience and is in line with the creativity and magic that fans expect. The story showcased in the game is not a new story from J.K. Rowling. How does Hogwarts Legacy fit into the Harry Potter Wizarding World? While Portkey games are not direct adaptations of the books and films, the games are firmly rooted in the magical universe of the Wizarding World while remaining true to J.K. Rowling original vision. Portkey game developers chart new territory by creating fresh ways for fans to immerse themselves in the Wizarding World. Is it an original story? It's an open-world, single-player, action, role-playing video game, an RPG, set in the 1800s Wizarding World. The story has players experiencing life as a student at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry like never before as they live the unwritten and embark on a dangerous journey to uncover a hidden truth of the Wizarding World. What is the original story of Hogwarts Legacy? They kind of already said that in the answer before, and it takes place 1800s. I'm actually, you know what? It's pretty much the same thing. I'm going to skip it. How do you play Hogwarts Legacy? It's filled with immersive magic, putting players at the center of their adventure to become the witch or wizard they choose to be. They will grow their characters' abilities by mastering powerful spells, brewing potions, harvesting magical plants as they face off against deadly enemies. Players will also encounter missions and scenarios that will pose difficult choices and determine what they stand for. Can players choose their Hogwarts house in Hogwarts Legacy? A lot of people have been asking me about this. Players choose their house at the start of Hogwarts Legacy. So you get sorted, but ultimately it's just going to be a which house do you want to be a part of. You pick it, and then that's it. Can players customize their character in the game? Players can create the witch or wizard they want to be. They customize their character at the onset of their adventure, and then as they progress, they'll be able to develop their own special combat style. Will players establish friendships? Some students at Hogwarts will become friends. As players grow these relationships, these people will become companions who can accompany players on their journey, so go with them in the missions, expand their abilities, and open up as players learn their stories. Will we see Harry, Hermione, Ron? No, it's before that. What are the dangerous threats in Hogwarts? The Wizarding World is fraught with dangers, including creatures corrupted by a magical force, sinister witches and wizards, as well as a possible mounting goblin rebellion. Is Hogwarts Castle explorable? Yes, players will be able to explore a fully realized Hogwarts Castle where you attend classes, discover dungeons, secret passageways, and challenging puzzles. Does Hogwarts Legacy have broom flight? Broom flight is a method of travel, and there are also broom races. Players can take a flying class to master their broomstick flying skills. That's a big one, by the way. Can players ride magical beasts? Players can tame, mount, and ride some magical beasts in the game. what kinds of classes, and then they just repeat: charms, defense against the dark arts, herbology, and potions, where they will meet professors, learn the casting, all that stuff. How do players level up? In addition to classes and spells, players will have access to a deep set of upgrades, talents, and skills to aid their progression as a witch or wizard. They can complete challenges throughout the world to earn experience and level up their abilities. Magical gear can also be upgraded and specialized to increase offensive and defensive capabilities in a chosen playstyle. Can you mix and match spells? Mixing and matching dozens of spells will let players define their combat style. What is the Room of Requirement? It's an important secret of Hogwarts that helps players customize and grow their abilities. We'll have more details to share at a later time. Does it have online or co-op gameplay? No. That's the short answer. Are there in-game purchases or microtransactions? No. Will Hogwarts Legacy include accessibility features? Yes, and they'll have more details to share soon. Will Hogwarts Legacy adhere to the Wizarding World lore? Yes, it's not a direct adaptation. The games are anchored, but while that's true, the games are anchored in the Wizarding World lore. Avalanche is creating a unique gaming experience that is inspired by the magical universe created by J.K. Rowling. Does the game take place only in Hogwarts Castle? Basically, the answer is no. Obviously, the Forbidden Forest we saw, Hogsmeade Village, etc. What is Portkey Games? Don't really think that's necessary. What does Portkey Games mean? Honestly, I don't think that's necessary. What type of games? Are Portkey Games created with J.K. Rowling's approval? Each experience offered under Portkey Games will take place in the Wizarding World and will be authentic to it. J.K. Rowling is supportive of Portkey Games and has entrusted the design and creation of the game to WB Games and developers involved. So long reading, but there's pretty much everything. Again, a lot of these things are actually repeated. They added, for my count, they added maybe like 6 to 10 questions, new questions. Again, more involving like the broomstick, how do you level up, stuff like those are kind of the newer ones that weren't there originally. But a lot of the questions are repeated. The answers are pretty close. What I actually find funny is people ask about the sorting stuff. That was originally on there. And because I looked, I was like, I wonder, I kind of forget, I've made like 150 videos. It's been a long time, but I looked back at the original video I did for it where I read out the questions, and that question's on there. Will you, how do you do it? Now, the original question, now they keep saying, like, can you pick and then can you switch houses, and they never really answered the switching houses, so I'm going to assume the answer to that's no. You pick the house at the beginning though, and that's kind of it. But pretty good questions. Again, Nintendo Switch is added there. They added more to the J.K. Rowling part. I don't know if that's like a wink wink nod nod, like we're going to try to continue to distance ourselves from her as much as we can so people don't freak out on us, right? We've seen a lot of people do that already, so maybe that's why they threw that stuff on. But nothing revolutionary. The broomstick one, to be honest with you, is probably the most in-depth thing out of all of them. The fact that they added even on there the racing, that you could do like races, and you can do a class. Now I don't remember if the class was mentioned in the state of play, and I don't think the broomstick riding class is going to be as detailed as like potions class. Do you know what I mean? It'll probably be like a one-off quest. But again, Quidditch is never even an FAQ in the first place. It's never been mentioned. I find that kind of funny. Still, again, some questions that should maybe be asked, I guess, in general that aren't, but pretty cool overall. So there's all your answers in case you guys were wondering. As I've said before, there'll be more videos obviously over the coming days. We'll break down a couple other things in the state of play and go from there. Thank you for the continued support. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you guys are following me everywhere else. All my social media is in the description below, and I hope to see you guys on the next video.